Hey guys, we're back. It's been a while.
Yeah.
It's time that intro. I'm just gonna take my shirt off and just come back a completely different man.
Yeah, basically. Welcome to another edition of the Bulluminati podcast, everyone. I'm your host, as always, Nathan Bond. Joined alongside me, the beautiful Seth Varnadore and the dapper Robert Steeg. How you guys been? It's been a little bit. Steeg, we saw each other over the weekend.
We did. That was a nice little reunion of sorts.
It really was. It was a lot of fun.
It was like the first time you and I have been together in person since one of the basketball games. It was the Austin P basketball game.
Maybe, yeah. Holy cow! Yeah, it's been a minute.
Jeez, whew.
It's been a little bit. Seth, how are you? How are the kids? How's the family?
Doing well. We got the 2-year-old's almost 2-year-old's birthday's coming up next week, so we're in the pre-planning stages, much like the pre-planning for the on-campus stadium. We're going through budget right now, trying to figure out exactly where we're at. So we're in similar processes. So I feel their pain over there.
Do you feel like your next meeting you'll actually have like a budget like set and kind of go from there, or?
Yeah, right now we're looking. I think maybe we're a little bit ahead. We might be in the design stage right now.
Okay.
We're doing some preliminary studies on what the weather will be like.
Okay.
That will, do we get a bouncy house? Do we not? If it rains, we got to look at those kind of preliminary studies.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you figured out how many seats are going to be at the party, or is it a fluctuation?
We don't want it to be a small party, so we're going to go at least 40,000.
Okay. That's smart. That's real smart.
Is that capacity or is that seats?
See, that's what we're talking about right now.
Are you going to be able to build for expansion? Will you be able to host other parties in the venue as well?
I think that's something in the future. As it gets a little older and gets some more friends, we'll look to expand.
Okay.
For this particular party, we'll probably start at that 40,000. Again, anything less than 40,000 is very small.
Yeah, it's tiny.
Way too
tiny. Yeah, no, for sure. Well, guys, let's jump into it. We've got football pre-planning, stadium stuff to go over. We've got some spring sports to go over. It's a jam-packed show. Let's jump right into it. Let's start with baseball. Let's rip the Band-Aid right off. Baseball finishes 28-29 on the season. They go 2-Q in the conference tournament out in Clearwater after winning the conference tournament last season, going to a super regional. Injuries, poor pitching, some more injuries. Suspensions. Guys getting kicked off the team and then not actually getting kicked off the team and then actually getting kicked off the team. It was an absolute cluster for head coach Billy Mull and the Bulls, and they just could never really find their traction in conference play. They went 8-16 in conference play. Jared Eaton, Nick Gonzalez, and Keanu Jacobs-Gashard are all in the transfer portal, as well as a couple of other guys who didn't really see much playing time. So you're looking to replace a couple of key players there. Jared Eaton had that magical run in the conference tournament last year, as well as the super regional and the regional. Just could not really crack the lineup again this season due to ineffectiveness. And the freshmen coming up pretty big. Marcus Brodel. There were some pretty good freshman contributors this season for baseball, but a 5.82 team ERA is not going to get it done. And that's really what happened. Jack Jasiak got hurt and was lost for the season 5 starts in. Ryan Kirkering just never really found it as a starter or as a reliever as he went back to the bullpen. It was just one catastrophe after another for this Bulls team. But we look ahead, right? Because that's the only way to do it. We look ahead to 2023 and we'll reset and go from there. Any thoughts on baseball, Steeg? I know, you've been maybe a little less outspoken about baseball than most, but I think it's because we are so clearly in the bag for baseball. It's not funny.
Yeah, it sucked. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think the bare minimum a team in the state of Florida should go is above 500. For the season strength of schedule aside, there's too much talent in the state of Florida that they shouldn't really be any struggles past this. But you kind of dealt the cards that you're handed, and the cards that were dealt were not great for Billy Mole this year. I mean, it's you saw what the team was capable of early on the season. The first probably like 10 games of the season, it was quite a serviceable team. Like probably could surprise some people. Probably finished like top half the conference. Then the first wave of suspensions kind of came in, and then Jack Jasiak went down. You're kind of like, okay, well, Orion Kirkering getting some starts. We were excited about that because you and I talked about it quite a bit too. We were like, yes, like Orion Kirkering needs to be getting these like starts. But then we started seeing, okay, he's the Friday starter, or he's the Saturday starter, whichever one. Maybe like every once in a while he should start a game to try to get that draft stock up. But like to go from basically closer to your number one pitcher all of a sudden is quite the change.
It's a leap. It's definitely a leap. And he's got the raw stuff. I mean, he's throwing mid 90s, 94, 96, good breaking stuff. It's a big leap where he really came on late in the year last season, and making that jump is pretty tough. And then Hunter Mink, the Florida transfer, he was he was the reason early in the season that Orion could be in the rotation because he had kind of locked down that 8th, 9th inning spot. He kind of fell off, and then now you're kind of piecing everything else together. Orion was good, midweek starter, and then he had to jump into the weekend rotation. Gosh, this is such a terrible pun. I can't believe I'm about to say it, but it's a different ballgame on the weekends than it is in the midweek, and kind of coming in there. So it was just a bad beat all around. It kind of felt like 2016-ish, where there were pieces there. It's just everyone got hurt at their exact wrong time, and they just could never find their traction. So hopefully things kind of turn around. Florida State fired their coach after year 3, Mike Martin Jr. I mean, he's a legacy guy, and he got fired after 3 years, or let go, however you want to call it, not retained. So, that's interesting. Florida's, on the got a new assistant coach as well. For some reason, I don't think the assistant coach that was let go after 20 years is the guy that should have been let go after so long at Florida. But hey, man,
he's also on his last leg.
Yeah,
like they're sick of him up in Gainesville.
Yeah. You can't go back years not getting out of your own regional. That's a bad beat. That is a real bad beat.
Same thing down in Miami.
Gators. He's been fired a couple times on Twitter.
Yeah, quite. But to Mole's credit, he's bringing in 2 very good classes in the next 2 years. Baseball recruiting obviously being what it is, where you're not only recruiting against other teams, you're also recruiting up against the Angels, the Yankees, the Dodgers, and try to keep these guys from the lure of low ball baseball versus college and everything like that. So you'll have to fend off those. You'll usually lose like your maybe like top 1 or 2 guys in the thing, but the classes that they're bringing in are extremely deep, extremely Florida bred. They've got a lot of good talent, good arms coming in. So, and then of course the transfer portal being what it is, your first. You basically, depending on who graduates and who gets drafted and who decides to leave too, you might have to replace your entire infield.
That could also be an issue.
And that's
not great.
Starting pitcher, that's catcher, first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, and shortstop. So we'll see what happens. There's a lot of talent though, and with baseball's disparity of how things go, you had some pretty good rotation younger guys that probably won't get drafted. So, baseball's the game of sometimes the wind carries you and sometimes the wind shits in your face.
Sometimes.
The wind shit us in the face this week.
A little bit. Moving on to men's golf. They finished 4th in the Palm Beach Regional with Alvin Bergstrom not playing well at all. I don't think he qualified any of his scores during the regional as a scoring total for the team, but they still advanced, and then it just never really clicked for him in the NCAA like next round part, but they couldn't get to match play. They finished 28th out of 30 teams. I mean, still one of the top 30 teams in the country. But such is life. We had dinner on Sunday, and we were kind of told, they didn't really think that this would be the year for them. They've got a kid coming in that should be pretty good as well. We'll see how that goes. I trust Steve Bradley with my entire heart and soul. That guy knows how to win and recruit, and he does a really good job with it. So really, not much to say there. I mean, being a top 30 team with what resources they have is pretty impressive over there. And then let's wrap it up with we'll do the spring sports. Actually, let's do track, Steeg, and then we'll wrap it up with softball, and then we'll hit the football stuff.
Right. So it's few, I think 8 to Eugene, Oregon for the NCAA track and field championships, which is, again, we'll hammer this drum for the rest of time. Eric Jenkins being hired, being Michael Kelly's first hire, was just the biggest grand slam you could ever ask for to turn around one of the most downtrodden programs probably in the Southeast, I would probably venture to say. So he's been instrumental in turning around this track and field program, trying to get past this hurdle, trying to get us back on track. Any other pun that I can think of. And he's done it in quite an unconventional way, but he's getting there. So the big story, I guess, is Romaine Beckford. He is now a 2-time second-team All-American, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. He won it in the fall for the indoor championships, and then he won it again second team in the outdoor championships. So, as a high jumper, he's doing absolutely incredible. He's crushing records. And I think for anyone who pays attention to the U.S. track and field Twitter accounts during the seasons, it seems like every meet they're beating new school records. They're tying personal bests. He's really getting the most out of his athletes there. So at the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championship, he finished 13th in the country. So kudos to that. It doesn't sound great on paper, but in the grand scheme of things, I think there was like 20-something athletes competing, and these were like winners of their regionals. So to be top 13 in Oregon, and it's a big deal. Sinique Walker, Shania Benjamin, and Chanelix Davila, they all earned honorable mention in their respective events as well. So the 400-meter hurdles, the 100 hurdles, and the high jump, high jump, respectively. Sorry, I had to double check that one because the website is weird. But yeah, so track and field, I know, sometimes, they get kind of put on the back burner, but, I always pay attention to what they do. They do fantastic stuff there. Eric Jenkins, thank you for coming to Tampa and leaving Western Kentucky, because you are a lifesaver.
100%. I mean, it's the 50th anniversary of Title IX, and for years, track and field and cross country were exactly just a Title IX loophole for USF. In fact, they got popped for it a few years ago. There was a New York Times article about it. Like it was a thing USF used to do. It was let's just stash them so we can level out the football scholarships, because we don't really care about track and field and cross country. And it goes back to Michael Kelly's first press conference as athletic director. If you're going to keep score, you might as well win. We've seen some winning here. I think this is the first season, fall and spring, if I'm not mistaken, that not a single team has won a conference championship. Am I correct in that?
So technically, won the regular season conference championship, but I don't recall them getting a trophy for it.
I'm sure they do. And do. They'll get rings as well.
Right. So, and then Sailing won the ISAIC regional conference.
YMCA. Yep.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so the first one, when you go to the American Athletic Conference website and it breaks down the titles by sport, USF has a goose egg this year, and that's the first time since they've joined the American. And I didn't care to look past 2013 because Big East website wiped it all.
That's fair. That's fair. And let's wrap up with softball before we hit to the football. Softball finished 45-16 this season. They probably would have finished 10 in what's that? I can do that. 10-51 without Georgina Cork. I think that's probably fair. They went 1-2 in the Tallahassee Regional. They shut out Mississippi State to open the regional, and then lost to Florida State, and then lost to Mississippi State to get eliminated there. There aren't enough words to describe what Georgina Cork has meant to this program, to the athletic department, to USF in general over her, 5 years at USF. She took full advantage of her extra year and became the best pitcher in the nation. And it was not close for a very, very long time. And we're not going to see that kind of season from a USF athlete for a while. It was an honor to watch her play and to see her competitiveness. It just kind of, it's tough when you are as good as you are, and you're as good as you are. It's pretty tough to stay pretty level and grounded. But she would always poke fun at herself. Steeg, you've roasted her a few times, and she's always kind of taken it in stride. She was just a different breed, man. I can't say enough good things about her, and I'll go to my grave knowing that I was just so dead right about her as a freshman that I'll be happy if I get everything else wrong.
I don't want to say that we called it at the beginning of the year, but we started the year. I think it was just you and I talking about does she have a chance to be the best athlete ever at USF?
Man, I mean, her numbers are ridiculous. I just want to pull them up just so I have them in front.
A lot more difficult this year.
That's for damn sure. And what she did, like, seriously, like, this is like a 15-20 win team maybe without Georgina Cork this year. Like, they couldn't hit a lick. Their pitchers, God bless them, were not good outside of her. Like, and it wasn't close.
And it was funny because they're like, you say they couldn't hit, but like anytime she started in the circle, like bats were hitting ball, like they were hitting when Georgina was pitched every single game. Georgina pitched in, like, Alexis Johns was getting on base, stealing second almost immediately. Which, by the way, full disclosure, Georgina Cork's on that team. Alexis Johns is getting all the pride and mentioned because she set NCAA records as well for stealing bases. But like, they were still able to. But it was funny how this team was just so live or die by Georgina. Like they shut out Mississippi State and won 6-0 or 4-0. They shut out Mississippi State and won that game. 4-0. Yeah, and then didn't score another run the rest of the regional because Georgina was injured and couldn't play. Like, they almost were like defeated and debilitated and like just downtrodden because they're, I don't want to call her the savior, but like the best pitcher in collegiate softball couldn't play. It's like she had that effect on the team that went past her being in that circle, really.
It's ridiculous. I just want to read off her stats. She had a 0.51 ERA, a 0.54 whip. She went 37-5 this season, 2 saves. She struck out 418 batters, only allowed 34 walks. Her batting average against was 121. Like, this girl threw 274 innings, and no one topped 60. Aaron Popping was exactly at 60 innings, and she had a 3.27 ERA. Like, it's ridiculous what she did. And like Sarah Nevins, that 2012 year, she was incredible. Like, she was the reason they got to the Women's College World Series. But but she had help. Like the pitchers around her were a lot better. Like the number 2 pitcher that 2012 year had a sub 2 ERA. Like it wasn't just Sarah. Like Sarah was the workhorse, but I mean, to see what Georgina Cork did, it's like she had a really good season last year, and it's like, hold my beer.
2 perfect games.
Like,
can't forget that. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I can't speak enough about what she was able to do, and I'm really leaning toward her being the greatest USF athlete ever. And it just, her numbers are not going to be touched for a long time. And Ken's got to figure something out, because you take Georgina Cork away on this team from this team this year. Like where are they? It's literally a 15-21 team. And you think, well, it's just one of those rebuilding years. Oh man, I'm scared for next year. I hope Ken gets it figured out. He needs to find someone ASAP, or a couple of people ASAP, because Aaron's gone too. So your top 2 innings eaters are gone. So good luck. It's not my problem. But let's move on to football. Big Board of Trustees meeting on Wednesday morning. It ran from 9 to 12 ish. They waited for basically 2 hours into the trustees meeting to get to the thing that literally everybody else was watching for. But they finally talked about football. Steeg, what did we learn, if anything, from Wednesday's Board of Trustees meeting about football?
We learned basically that the timeline, like the main thing that we learned was never expect USF to do the thing that they should do. Always expect that it's like whatever your expectation of what you want to happen is not going to happen, basically, is what we learned. Everyone kind of came in that meeting thinking renderings and financial plans and like what it's going to look like and how we're going to build it. And, and we didn't really get that. We got basically like, hey, we did the extra back end work that was, and I'll say it was very crucial to get that back end work done. Not just from my professional experience, but in any kind of realm of things. Like Michael Kelly and the rest of his board and the rest of the people that work on this project, they did exactly what they needed to do from that last Board of Trustees meeting to this Board of Trustees meeting. All that back end work is going to be invaluable because they didn't put the cart before the horse, which is what some other schools have done when it comes to their renderings that they put out. And so they're really, taking their due diligence on this. But essentially the entire thing was, hey, the site that we chose is still good. We're looking at a 2026 start completion date, which is just, if I could pull down a string and confetti would come down, I would, because that's a massive, massive win. That the language that Michael Kelly and his staff has used has no longer been 2026 or 2027. Looking at that 2027 Miami game as like the first opening thing, it completely shifted to 2026. And that should be celebrated in all accounts for being a success that they feel comfortable enough to kind of put, a more verbiage behind it, that's their, that's their leveling ground right now. That's the expectation is in 4 years, we will be playing in an on-campus football stadium at the University of South Florida, which is a lot longer than we should have waited to do this. But that's all we learned, really. Nothing else really mattered after that.
I think there were a couple other things that I looked out for a second, so I don't know if you mentioned it. I thought there were a couple other things that were mentioned that I don't remember hearing before or seeing before. One is a clip. I'll throw it up here real quick so everyone can hear it. I don't recall this.
Things that will have to be upgraded and done, but certainly nothing to prohibit the again, use of this site and to be able to continue on in this nature. And then obviously just looking at the areas around when we talk about creating a unique sense of place, unique opportunities to be able to grow the site as we ultimately see fit as a university. in terms of accommodating things, because we want to find ways to activate this facility well beyond the 6 or 7 football games, beyond maybe the 10 or 15 lacrosse games, but to be able to use it on a daily basis. That's great, not only great for the university mission, but for being great community partners.
So I hadn't heard the lacrosse thing before, which is kind of an interesting wrinkle, because we'd even talked in the little Slack about where's lacrosse going to play. It looks like they may be playing in the new stadium as well. And just talking with Steeg off the pod, that may help in terms of fundraising, in terms of Title IX and things like that. Having the stadium being used by multiple sports and a woman's sport may help with the fundraising. So that's something I had not heard before. And the other thing that I had not seen before, I saw the location, but I hadn't seen this graphic in particular. Let me see if I can get it pulled up, of kind of how they envisioned the stadium looking on the like the surrounding areas, which they did show. So I thought this was interesting. So we'd all seen this before. I don't remember seeing the pictures on the side here. This is the Grove in Ole Miss, and this is, I believe, is the Walk of Champions at Ole Miss. The Grove, if you haven't seen it, is just an unbelievable tailgating experience. I actually have a time-lapse video we can show of the Grove if you've never seen it. And then also some like food areas above it, a lot of green, a lot of kind of interesting greenery around the stadium as well. So it's not just going to be like a stadium's up and then you've got just parking lots all around it. There's going to be some interesting stuff. And if you've never seen the Grove, let me throw up this time-lapse video real quick.
Right. And I think the language that Michael Kelly and his staff has used, and they no longer call it like the on-campus stadium plan. They are, but it's part of the athletics district.
Yeah. He mentioned that multiple times, and he mentioned how kind of it'll be one of the better situated ones, because they'll kind of have a plan of, they didn't just throw up a stadium 40 years ago now to figure out how to situate everything. They have it kind of a good spot. So this is the Grove. This is where they do all the big tailgating. You see the tents go up the night before. And then as you get into the next day, that's where it gets crazy busy. It's a walk for everybody to the stadium. If you've seen a game day at the Grove or game day at Ole Miss, they talk about the Grove or go to the Grove a ton. So to me, that's a really cool, and this may be even the 2 nights before. So it's going to get really rowdy. That's the end, right? So I thought that was interesting, just to have kind of be thinking about the pregame experience, not just necessarily the game day experience. So the pregame experience, to really use this kind of wooded, when on non-Saturdays, the Grove is just like a big 9-acre park in the middle of campus, which is great. Mm-hmm. When on game days and Saturday, you got this great tailgating area with great surroundings. It's right next to the stadium. It creates a little bit of atmosphere and ambiance, just kind of with what you have naturally on campus. So I thought that part, to me, I hadn't seen before. I thought that was really interesting, because they're really thinking kind of as this project, not just the stadium, but kind of the whole area, and then how that ties in, like Steve said, to the athletic district. So I think it could be really, really cool the way they're kind of thinking about this.
Right. Yeah, and we kind of joked about it at the top, but like they're expecting a 25,000 seat ish stadium. What I thought was pretty neat on the kind of rundown of the things that would be in the stadium, the loge suites, but the field level club. I thought that's a pretty interesting wrinkle. I know Central Florida does that. They have like the field level club on the end zones. They have the cabanas. On the opposite side of the press box tower, which is pretty, it's a neat, kind of wrinkle. I think you're kind of seeing that with more like the newer stadiums. You're getting that more like field level experience.
Cowboys Stadium did that really big, right? The new
right. Yep. And then I think Cleveland, the Guardians, I think at least Jacobs Field used to have it. I don't know if the new park has it as well. Where you're basically like, instead of having just like the backstop, it's like there are seats in the backstop kind of thing. So like it's becoming more of a trend. I think it'll be a really cool and unique thing to have here that's not really done in the area that much. Your ice level for Lightning games, whatever, but you're still up in the seats for Bucks games. I think getting field level, that atmosphere is a little bit cooler. I always, I'll go back to it, but like those field level seats, when you're on the field at Central Florida, it brings it in. It's a little bit more intimate, and it's a pretty cool thing that they've done down over there in the Rust Bucket. Had to get that one in.
Did they because I didn't watch the spring game because it wasn't streamed. Didn't they do like field level field level like viewing for the spring game?
Yeah, so at Ray J you can push like the end zone seats back like into like the
which was
the shell of the city. Yeah, it always blows my mind. It's
a little foreshadowing. Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. They had that ish kind of going on. So that'd be pretty cool. The other thing that happened this week, and we'll get back to the stadium stuff, but it's kind of interconnected, is the American Athletic Conference officially welcomed in the 6 new schools. They'll start playing football and all the other sports in the American and starting July 1, 2023, which means USF's home opener versus FAU is now a conference game in 2026, which means they probably have to scrap that, find a new opening opponent. The following week, they're at Alabama. So you have some leeway if you want to switch some things around. The following week after Alabama is, I believe, FAMU, or Bethune. You could switch them and then find someone for that third week. So there's be prepared for some scheduling shuffling over the next year or 2 years. Just trying to figure out what's going to be the best thing. Do you want to open a brand new stadium with a win, or do you want as big of an opponent as you can get? And it's a delicate balance. I think you'll still sell the place out because it's the first game of a new stadium. So maybe you don't really need the marquee opponent, but you never know. I mean, you never know. So
they keep on saying call Kentucky Wesley and back up.
Do they still have a football team?
Oh yeah, they do.
Oh, yeah. Good for them. Are they FCS?
NAIA.
Are they NAIA?
They're NAIA. I got recruited by them.
I don't think that'd be fair. I mean, we beat them 80-3 the first time. I don't think it'd be fair now.
I mean, Agent of Chaos, Robert Steelife.
No.
Looked at
Robert,
it.
If you say it, I'm kicking you out.
I won't say it, but Agent of Chaos, there's a team not too far away that can really use a 2026 on-conference game that's close by, since their conference is they have to travel 897 miles to their closest conference opponent now.
Is
Ed Waters? They still play football?
Yeah, Ed Waters College, yeah.
Does Rollins have a football team or something? Is that what you're talking about?
It's Central College.
Stetson.
Yes.
Stetson football.
God, I was mind blown when I found out that it like Stetson Hatters and the fucking Stetson hat, same dudes. Like, blew my mind. Like, basically,
didn't say.
I was like, oh, haha, like maybe the school like was named after some dude named Stetson and he has a fun sense of humor. But I had no idea that the guy that made the Stetson hat was like involved in the university. God, I'm an idiot.
You said it, not us.
Yeah. Just to reiterate this, on USF's plan this entire time was that there is always going to be plans in place when they design the stadium that it is going to be able to be expanded seating-wise in the future if they so see it fit. So yes. Whatever number of seatings or capacities or whatever you want to say is essentially kind of like minimum. That's what you're going to see. Like if they're really trying to scrape bottom dollar and just, do it, it'll be 35. But I think it's going to be more than that.
I think 35 is fine. I mean, we're not getting 20,000 people out there right now. So what I don't understand.
Houston has 40. It's perfectly rowdy there.
Seth, was it you or maybe it was Ryan? Someone in Slack said that they kind of like the small atmosphere because you're like right on top of the action. You're not in like this. It may have been Ryan kind of saying, we can't fill a 60,000 seat stadium, but it's we if we just close it in and it's very like tight and like up, and it makes it a little bit more intimate and raucous when things are popping off.
A bit a little vertical.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 35 is a good number, especially as a starting point. You start to fill the 35, then you think about expansion. This will be really interesting when in like 10 years the Rays are playing in the stadium and renting from USF. It'll be a flip.
Yeah, that'll be nice. It'd be really funny though if they just made a carbon copy of Ray J and just put it at the stadium. Like, all right,
mini Ray J.
Yeah, it's carbon copy, like the entire thing, pirate ship, red seats, everything. Let's see if it was just location.
Could be. Yeah.
I know Pickle was talking about to do like a red, like how I think it's like the Red Sox have like a row of, or no, then the Rockies have like a row of seats that are like purple for like no reason. No, well, there's a reason behind it, but
do you know what the reason is?
Yeah, it's because that's 52,000 whatever feet or 5,200 feet for like a mile, right? Correct.
Yes.
Yeah, I know why.
The mile. Okay.
Yeah, so
it's the mile high marker.
Yes, but like when you look at the stadium, it's like it looks like it's there for no reason, but to have like a row of red seats in the stadium would be oddly funny to me. Like just like maybe like 15 seats. Just
how do they not have like club seats that are a mile high? That'd be like the easiest sell ever. Mile high club.
So you should get a PR.
Everybody wants to be in it.
I think that's probably the reason why.
Who was it? Was it Boozy at the Florida Panthers game? That was
No, it was who was it? Yeah. Oh my God, who was it?
Oh, someone in our chat has to know who this is.
Oh my gosh, who was it at the Florida Panthers game? Getting wet.
No, there's an alternate angle. They were just dancing.
Yeah, there's
young
Kodak Black.
Kodak Black. Oh my gosh,
there's an alternate angle. There was an alternate angle. They were just dancing.
Yeah. Yep. Well, there's a second shooter too.
I don't want any slander on the podcast.
No. Looks like we got some questions for. I like having questions. Makes me feel like we're.
Is that Ash?
Yeah.
Let's see.
He's not. He didn't make it in, right?
He is at Florida A&M now, I think. Yeah.
James, where'd he end up?
Florida A&M. Am I stupid? Could have sworn. Hold on. I'll look it up.
And
James Ash isn't real.
Pinder was in spring, wasn't he?
Pinder was.
I think so.
Summer. Yes. James Ash went to Florida A&M. Harvard on the Hillsborough struck again.
Steve, what do we got on the recruiting front?
Yeah.
So live pod.
I saw a tweet.
Live pod news.
Did you see the tweet?
Yeah, trick it.
I'm pretty sure it's FAMU.
Oh, Nate's behind.
No.
This is good. Yes, a little recruiting news. Well, there's two recruiting newses, I should say, but one coming imminent tomorrow. Trickett dropped a little something's going to be happening tomorrow. So that's exciting. I love having a coach that's viable and ready to drop some news on the Twitter.com Bird app. So I don't know who it is. I have an inkling of who I think it might be. But it's judging by what I'm kind of guesstimating on this, I think it is Clinton Jackson. He is a wide receiver from somewhere up in Georgia. He had a phenomenal camp last week with USF. Basically, from Schley County. Right, yeah, Schley County. Yeah. So he's a quarterback and a receiver. Made fucking plays all day during a 7-on-7 camp, and Bobby Bentley was all over it. And I think it might be him. I think it's a wide receiver that we're getting tomorrow, just based off of Bobby Bentley's interaction as well. So that's just my guess. I was assuming that he's probably wide receiver 1 or 2 on their board right now, based off of some of the Miami guys kind of faltering off and not wanting Miami's starting to go back into their Miami pot. So I think a few of those Miami guys that they were recruiting from Travis Trickett are coming into fruition. So, they're going for some different fish here. And then Sunday, Tafiq Bayard is a corner from DeMatha, Maryland, powerhouse football program, DeMatha. It seems like he's coming here. He took an official visit to USF last weekend, was there all weekend, and said nothing but good things about Shoop and Coach Barlow, and then canceled his UConn visit that he had for this weekend, which his 3 big suitors were West Virginia, UConn, and USF. So if the rules of you get the last visit, you get the guy come true, then USF got a last visit, so they'll get the guy there.
How many times has he visited in total?
Tafiq, just once. Yeah, they got him down on actually twice. He went on an unofficial, yeah, and then because he was also visiting with a few other DeMatha guys. And before we get too far fetched on things, there is a slight connection between the USF staff and that DeMatha area of DC. They're not abandoning the pond of Florida recruiting and not dipping their toes out of Tampa region or anything like that. But with a school like DeMatha, they don't produce duds.
Big time program.
Isn't it kind of that you have to qualify it? I promise they still care about Tampa. Who cares? Just win.
Yeah, basically. I mean, if they'll be fine. Don't worry about the Tampa area recruiting. They'll get their guys here one way or another. Whether it's through the portal and getting guys back to Tampa, which is also very viable, or getting the guys from Plant or Berkeley or whatever it is, or whatever Pius says that is the
right. And there's a connection with Tafiq and a former USF coach, Steve Ellis. Steve Ellis, who is now the DB coach at ECU, coached Tafiq's brother, Kevin, who is now a 2-time first-team All-Pro safety corner for the Tennessee Titans. Kevin Bayard.
Defensive back.
Yeah. So he comes from a good family tree. So I think it'd be a pretty solid get for the Bulls. The question I do have for you, Steeg and Seth, because Seth, you cover Florida as well. I think USF has one 2023 commit, and I was looking. I think it was Matt Brown from Extra Points posted the 247 composite team rankings, and I think Northwestern was 6th or something like that. But a lot of these teams have 15, 16, 17 commits. I think Central Florida has 17 commits. A lot of these schools have a lot of commits. What's been kind of going on with football and waiting so long to get guys to commit when a lot of other teams have started to fill out that 2023 class?
I think, and I talked to Steve about this previously. I think on USF side, I think they wanted to see a lot of guys in person, and we're kind of slow playing this year a little bit, not kind of throwing offers out because they finally got a chance to get out on campuses again, and they wanted guys to get on their campus and see how they perform. So I know they were a little bit slower to just toss offers out. I think isn't that something, Steve, that you kind of mentioned to me previously?
Yeah, so and when we say toss offers out, a good friend, the USF alumni Twitter account posted that I think USF has 243 plus offers out to the class of 2023, which is a lot. But when we say offers, we mean committable offers, and those are a little bit more different than your traditional like kid posts it on Twitter, gets the clout, Santee retweets them and does that. Like they tend to slow roll these committable offers because for a few reasons. Recruiting isn't the game of filling up quick. It's quite dangerous to go ahead and fill up your entire class before the fall even begins because these guys still have one more year of football, and you really only kind of catch them in this weird junior year bubble. Maybe you get a little bit of like a sophomore or freshman year guy who you've been recruiting for a little bit, but when you catch them in that junior year bubble, they're still developing. They're still honing their skills, and you may recruit a guy who, yeah, a high 3-star, was a stud on his team and was a senior heavy team, but he had like 18 interceptions or whatever it is, and then he comes back the next year and those seniors left and he ends up not playing as well and everything like that. But now that you got him committed, what do you do? Because now he might not be playing as well. He might have lost a few pounds. He might have just kind of given up on, whatever's going on. But you kind of want to slow roll. You don't want to fill up, by July 1st or anything like that. But you also want to get some guys in the building, and committed. And they're perfectly fine with slow rolling this and taking 1, 2, 3 commits over the summer, waiting for transfers maybe.
And I think you might possibly be seeing some NIL trickle down because it seems like a lot of the big guys, there's a few that are committed already, but a lot of the big guys are kind of waiting and really taking their time with these decisions. It seems like more and more are going to be coming out the next few weeks, but guys have been waiting. A lot more guys are taking officials. So I think you have some of the bigger schools that maybe you might have a guy that is Florida's, like for instance, Florida's second option. Well, maybe he's waiting to see if he becomes an option before he looks at other schools in the state, or it could be kind of that kind of thing. Because Florida is, I know, just kind of following them as well. They're recruiting a ton of like high caliber 5-star, 4-star guys, and they're kind of playing the NIL game with them, kind of seeing and having to wait until they make their decisions, which guys are waiting longer and longer. You're not seeing a ton of guys. You're seeing some, but you're not seeing a ton of guys like visit and then commit on the visit like you used to see. Seems like a visit, guys are gathering a lot more information, especially in regards to NIL, and then they make sure they go to other schools and kind of see what they're offering as well. So I think that's part of it at the top. And then you mentioned a school like Northwestern. I think I heard somebody say they're top 5 or top 10 right now, but they don't have a single player that's in the top 300. It's just kind of, they're just amassing bodies. And since they have so many guys committed, that's why they're so high. But it's not really a quality metric. So
yeah, no, absolutely. It was more like piqued my interest. Like, okay, they have like 17 and USF has 1. What's kind of the disconnect between some of these schools? And it makes a lot of sense. I know, USF had a really strong push late last year as well. I know there was the coaching changes with the coordinators that had to do with that, but they closed really, really strong in that last 6 weeks before the early signing period. So it makes a lot of sense, especially now as we kind of get back into the normalcy of being able to have the 7-on-7s, being able to have the camps, getting them on campus, actually seeing them in person, as you mentioned, Seth. And it's the attrition of the 2020 and some of the 2021 classes across the country. You're seeing that, like, okay, maybe we missed on this guy because we weren't actually able to see him in person.
Yeah, I think that's a big part of it.
So
you're kind of cutting out a little bit.
I get
that. Yeah, he's cutting in a lot.
So I think that now I believe this Byard, was he the first official visitor of kind of this kind of cycle? Or one. I know he was one of them. I know he was kind of the only one they've had recently, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Their official visit. I think they wanted to get more official visits once the indoor practice facility is actually complete.
Yeah, and that could be part of it too.
That was what I was inferring as far as this recruitment class. But at the end of the day, and I said it last year, and I'll say it again this year, and it's the eventual cycle of this all is going to catch up. But like recruiting is like doing a puzzle, like on February 17th or whatever the day is, your puzzle is complete, and everyone is going to be complete on that day, and on June 1st versus August 17th versus December 1st, it doesn't matter because none of this is just set in stone. So, like UCF has 17 guys committed or whatever it is. Half of them can decommit and there's no binding things or anything going on there. So it's, there's really no harm in slow rolling. Like, yeah, you might miss out on a guy at this rate, but like, I trust this coaching staff because then they pull, guys out of their ass like Michael Williams last year, who ended up being our top rated recruit on like the day before the class closed, or get a guy like Jackson Long, who is one of the best tight ends in the Southeast. Like it is entirely possible to not have to fill up your class all the way and get these, the summer momentum going and all that stuff. Like it's a myth that you need to get these like X amount of commits before August 1st or the football season or anything like that, because there's slots. You have 25 scholarships, so does everyone else, and the guys are going to get burned by it.
What is their scholarship count right now? Where are they at?
Fuck, I don't know.
Do you have any idea? That could be a part of it. If they're not losing a ton in terms of scholarships, that could be a part too, where they have to be a little bit more selective. Now I know the cap was taken off the 25 guys a year.
Right. So they basically said, "Hey, you just have to get to 85."
Yeah.
Is what the NCAA said for like the next 2 years because of the COVID stuff and everything.
Yeah.
So like a team like Alabama, if they have a lot of guys go to the draft, they could have a 40-person, like class of 2024, as long as they get to that 85 scholarship count. I thought we were at 85 for a good bit, and then Gary committed. And now I have no clue how many scholarships we have, because you have a guy like Cade Roberts and a guy like Jason Albritton who we thought were on scholarship because we have certain rules that we follow with counting guys on scholarship, and they apparently aren't on scholarship. But then,
there's also, though, there is the possibility that sometimes guys will come on as walk-ons. If they have open scholarships, they'll give them for the spring semester as kind of a reward, and then it's a yearly kind of thing. So they may take you back off scholarship. So they could have been awarded. Those aren't 4-year awards though. So they could have gone away.
Who was that Ole Miss receiver that transferred here? God, I'm forgetting these names. Whoever that receiver was.
I can't remember anymore.
Yeah, one of the receivers that came here for a year and then left. He was. There's a term in recruiting called blue shirt, which is basically you don't have a scholarship, but you will be given a scholarship. But so there, and then there's a guy like Tamarcus Simpson who is technically not on scholarship. But yes, Gregory. Tamarcus Simpson, who's technically still not on scholarship. He was a transfer from Eastern Michigan. He's technically not on scholarship, but he might be on like a spring scholarship, and then like a certain day passes, and then they can. I don't know. We're at some number between 83 and 86.
Yeah.
That's all I know. Because they're still offering guys.
And with the team being pretty young, I wonder how many guys they're expecting to lose. So they maybe they're anticipating a smaller class. Also, I think the other part of it is, like guys asking, I don't think they haven't had a ton of guys visit officially. Like a lot of the bigger, you're seeing a lot of, I know Florida, I've seen UCF do it as well. Miami, they're having a ton of guys visit this summer. So I think that kind of, like you said, the USF wants to wait until the indoor is done. So that might be part of it as well, where they're kind of biding their time. A lot of people are getting these visits in now they may have visits lined up for them in the future once the IPF is done. They get them on campus for a game. So I wouldn't worry too much yet, especially if it's kind of more of a strategic thing of holding visits and things of that nature.
Never sweat recruitment before the class is finalized. But until the early signing day, a long way to go. A lot of people that think a lot of, and this is the unfortunate part of recruiting is there's a lot of kids that commit to like LSU and Ole Miss and Florida that are like the fringe 3-star guys that are between like, you know, UF, USF, and, you know, whomever it is. And then all of a sudden, you know, 4-star guy up the road decides that he wants to come to Florida. And someone
or a transfer hits the portal they weren't expecting, and now people get processed out. And
that's the word, is processed, and it happens a lot, and it's very unfortunate because it's something that I think is a very slimy part about college football right now, is the amount of processing that happens between June 1st and February 1st. It looks really bad, and you can burn a lot of bridges by doing that. And I don't think Jeff Scott and his staff are ones to do that. I think, you know, not to put the Clemson Light, you know, thing on there or anything like that. But once they want you to commit, like, hey, like, you have the commitment. That's why 257 offers or whatever they have out there, maybe 6 of them are committable right now.
Or maybe more are, but they won't. Like, they're offering some big time guys. So
right, like,
yeah, that's committable, but they're probably not counting it in their head as a committable offer, because it's probably
like William Fowles, the kid from Dade Christian, that high 4-star receiver that had USF and it's like top 8. Like, yeah, he has a committable offer, but
I don't think it's going to get used. Right?
The 2-star plant receiver up the road that we offered at the Sling and Shoot camp like 6 weeks ago or whatever it was, like, his offer might not be as committable. That's actually what happened with the Zechariah Poisner kid. Yeah. Sorry.
All right. Well, we lost Nate, but we may have upgraded here.
Oh shit! Is that fucking ET?
Hello, children.
The extra trick.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Lauren, tell us the good news. What's the good news here?
Well, I hear we have this new stadium that's going to be built on campus. I hear that's a thing.
What are your thoughts on the new stadium, on the proposed 35,000 seat capacity, which is a hot topic?
I think if they don't sell liquor in the skyboxes, they're not going to sell any fucking skyboxes.
They'll sell liquor.
No, it's
it'll be flowing like the stamina Capistrano.
Yeah, no, you're not going to get those old bastard alumni up there in the skyboxes without what is it, a bunch of Old Crow flowing through their veins.
I was about to say Crown Royal and
how dare you,
beef eaters.
Yeah,
that's
no. The USF alumni are all Maker's Mark people. You know that.
How could I forget? My bad. I'm so sorry.
So, I like the fact that I'm not going to turn my camera on because I say terrible shit and don't want my face associated with it. That we're all wearing the same uniform, by the way.
There we go.
I was about to say turn the camera on, but just do one of these. Just
no. The camera is on actually. That's the sad part.
Oh Jesus!
He cut his sleeves off.
I'm not a well man. Anyway, I do have to commend you on the Charlie Pell sticker on that locker. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I got like a bunch of old bumper stickers. I was going through old stuff and found a bunch of old things. I need some vintage USF stuff, but there's not a ton of it out there. I've been looking. There's not much.
Seth, I made this joke last time, but vintage USF is like I was born. That's vintage.
Like 92, 93.
Give me something. I need something. I've been looking. I can't find any. I found some game used like baseball jerseys, but it's not.
I want that weird semi-Japanese USF baseball jersey.
Oh, is it like the tertiary one with the?
Yeah, it's like it's just very. I don't know the correct way to pronounce or put it, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about. It looks very, very, very Asian font, Asian script, I should say, but it looks awesome, and I want it. I've only seen it in pictures.
Real quick, Scott, Spencer Schrader is going to be our kicker this year. I don't foresee either John Cannon or William Fowler overtaking him just yet. But yeah, I would love nothing more, and I've hinted it to Mole and I've hinted it to Brian Gregory, but this year I'm going to be more straightforward with it. Boy, are there some absolute gems in the USF vault as far as logos and old jerseys and shit.
Oh yeah,
And they need to just crack that bitch open.
I think they sold enough. Home field especially sold enough where they're going to really start getting into the nitty gritty, the good stuff. I think home field's starting to get into the gems for a lot of schools. We're obviously not high on that list, but I think they're going to get to us eventually. I've talked to Connor a couple times, and he's like, "Oh, we got some good stuff lined up." So I hear.
And then the basketball teams, did both of them? I know the women's team did the throwback that was really well received. Did the men's do one as well?
Yeah,
they were. Those need to be like in the rotation.
They a lot of the social media they posted with new players and the commits graphics were in those uniforms. So I wonder if they're going to wear them more often.
Yeah,
I think so.
Speaking of commits, if you're a football commit, and we've discussed this privately, can you just, for the love of Christ, stop using that terrible fucking practice jersey helmet? Good Lord, there are so many good things to choose from, and you just pick the fucking worst one every time.
They gotta go ahead and just make the graphics for them and like pre-approve. All right, if you're gonna commit, this is the graphic you can put out.
It's not even like the recognizable USF logo. Like I don't think they've ever used they haven't used that U with like the SF in a long time. It's just been the iconic U. Ever since that UConn game, they haven't used that for anything.
That's got to be
not even basketball jerseys.
Yeah, that's got to be the first high res image that pops up when you Google USF helmet. It has to be.
I don't know. It's concerning. These
damn kids today and their TikToks.
Yeah, right. It's Scott. Don't remind me. I hate that fucking helmet. So I want to know the story behind that helmet because there has to be, because there's no way that was purposeful. Because the players and the coaches and the equipment staff have to go through 1, 2, 3, 4 to approve that.
There's some equipment manager that's like hanging his head in shame because that's his fucking legacy, or their legacy rather. It
legitimately looks, and I know I've said it, but I actually confirmed it. It is a decal that you can get from the USF bookstore.
Oh yeah, I've seen it. You can buy that damn helmet at the bookstore at one point. I was amazed and very pissed off.
And there was nothing like, if they were going for like a minimalist look or something like that, like they had the U with the minimalist outline already in rotation that year. Yeah.
Oh, God, the thing, like objectively, it's not terrible, but we are picky. Just
especially the helmet, the second helmet, the placement is so bizarre.
It's wrong. I have some of those old school. I have the mustards. I have a couple of the mustards in my house. And they actually, you can see where they had to place the U like a little cockeyed because of where the snaps are for the face mask and the chin guards. And it's really fucking annoying. So I know, and that thing, I know for a fact, I've had to do it myself, that U to center it is a goddamn nightmare. So I do not envy them.
And it is your fun fact of the day is that if you ever look at two players, like, obviously they're decals, they're stickers, they will never, ever, 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 ever be matched up. They're like zebra stripes. Every single one of them is going to look different. And it is really funny to look at them.
They're like the Fabergé eggs of college football helmets.
They are. And that'll be our claim to fame is mismatched helmets like that. But yeah, it is God, that is a shit stain on the fucking pooped pants of the Charlie Strong era. Like when people ask,
and that's saying something.
That was a last gasp effort to try to do something to get people fired up.
That was before COVID, wasn't it? So there's no real good excuse for that bastard.
No, they just rolled out the white helmets one day.
Yeah, fuck it, throw them on there.
We were begging. We were like, please bring back God's helmet. Bring back the white helmet with the gold decal.
Oh, so good.
And they were like,
they leaned into it. It was purposefully off center. It was glorious. It was great. It was fucking fantastic. And they just couldn't do it because this is USF and we don't do good stuff on purpose.
Well, yeah, that's
that's kind of. I was so this last week I spoke with a Notre Dame fan whose favorite game of all time was 2011 USF Notre Dame.
Ew.
What are our thoughts on that? What are your thoughts on this helmet? from this game.
I had a mini helmet of that on. It's now sitting under my TV, but it was on my desk for years, and I don't mind it. It's not my favorite, but I like it because it was like a little. First off, the gold is actually correct for once. The green's not bad. I wish they would have done a little more with the face mask.
Yeah, I thought it was just kind of go back and watching it. I thought it was really nice looking, really stuck out. But
For 2011, it was snazzy.
Yeah,
They're fine helmets.
huh?
They're fine helmets.
They're fine.
I always like, so I have like weird opinions on football helmets just because of the background that I have working equipment and everything like that. But it's like,
because you're a white male football fan, you just have to have an opinion on fucking football helmets.
yeah, I have to have an opinion on everything, and I have to voice my opinion and make sure that I'm correct about it. But like, it feels like those solid colored, not white or black or gray kind of helmets were like really kind of fatty in like the early 2010s. Like every school had like a I don't want to call it like a bold color, but like one of their primary colors as like the helmet color.
I feel like that was
rather than the white or black.
Yeah, I feel like that was like the Boise State effect where they were doing their thing, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's cool." And Oregon a little bit too, mostly Oregon.
Yeah, like Utah, like USC. Like if you have like a solid color helmet with just like the basic logo and everything like that, like my immediate reaction was like, "Oh, am I watching a game from 2012?" Like,
yeah, you're well aware.
yeah, but like that's. I think they're perfectly fine. It's going to be hilarious in like 30 years when people are like, "Oh, we need to do a throwback uniform," and then it's going to be that. Like that's going to be what they're going to be like the 40th or the 50th anniversary of the USF upset at Notre Dame, and they roll out with those, and me, you, and Seth and Nate are going to sit here and be like,
"What the fuck?"
That's a throwback.
Actually, I ended up hanging out with a guy who played a Notre Dame guy who played in that game, and I was wearing a USF fleece, and like I knew he played, and like he obviously knew I was a USF fan, and like we didn't mention it for the first no shit 4 hours, and eventually I just kind of looked at him, he kind of looked at me, and I go, "How pissed off were you?" And he's like, "I was so fucking pissed off at you on that game."
So the guy I spoke with is Douglas Farmer. He was there. He was a student at Notre Dame. Now he writes about Notre Dame for NBC Sports. And he was like, he said it's his favorite game because it was like the first time he could leave. He said, "I left for 2 hours, went to my dorm, went to my friend's dorm. We drank beer, ate pizza. I came back to the stadium." Then he said he heard on the second delay, he heard the sophomores sing the entire 99 bottles of beer on the wall. They sang the entire song.
I like that
Beautiful.
Notre Dame players went and got fucked up and ate pizza, and then they came back and managed to barely lose to us. Still, that's good to hear.
No, he was just a normal student.
Oh, he was even a player. I was like, damn,
that's even better.
that's rough. Shout out Dr. Matt, by the way.
Dr. Matt. Oh, by the way, someone had a question about the indoor performance or practice facility, and Eric, I'm going to answer your question from almost 25 minutes ago. Does anyone have room available for the football-only complex? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It is built in consideration of that graphic that I think Seth pulled up, where it's going to be stadium, the bottom of the stadium, and then there's going to be like a kind of a building here that's going to be kind of like a football complex building / athletics facility. Yeah. So that athletics operations facility, I'm just going to boldly assume that is going to be the kind of new equipment room, new storage facility for like, the lacrosse nets versus the football goalpost versus whatever it is. It's yeah. Shout out to Mindy, by the way. Mindy, fantastic follow on Twitter. But like that's going to be where like the equipment and stuff is going to be stored, and maybe some storage stuff for practices and stuff too. And then it's all going to connect into that indoor practice facility, which I got confirmation on this. I don't know what to call this, but it's going to have windows right below where the roof is. So it's going to have natural light coming in, as well as LEED certified green light electricity. So USF.
Is it a transom window?
Yeah, I've never heard natural light being on USF's campus, by the way.
Right. Yeah. So they're going like this thing's gonna look nice as fuck. I mean,
push comes to shove, they can always just expand north and plow over fucking Greek Village. That'd be a shame.
Damn. But yeah, so that'll be what that athletics operations facility is. What it's going to say. It's not going to be like for like a general.
Right. It's going to be all kind of connected, so you can kind of get from one to the other, right?
Right. Yeah, and that's not like a general public operations facility. Like that's going to be like a behind lock and key.
You think they have weight room and stuff like that in there, or?
Maybe.
I mean, it'd be nice the
it's
players.
Big enough.
It'd be nice the players didn't get struck by lightning walking from the fucking weight room to the field of the practice facility. That'd be super.
Right.
I know that's what a lot of teams that are doing the indoor are kind of attaching some kind of weight room to it, and have like almost like a garage door. You can just kind of go out in between, because then they can use it for conditioning, that kind of stuff as well. So.
Right.
Well, I think,
and then like.
Go ahead, Steeg. Sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say like and I know Michael Kelly said it. Like the overall goal is that this thing's not going to be used for 6 to 7 football games, 10 to 15 lacrosse games. Like this thing's going to be open daily for like students to use for like what you have students do with like Benno Griffin,
stadiums and that kind of stuff, right?
It's going to be open for like intramurals or concerts or whatever they kind of need to do. Like I'm going to just assume that Bulls Fest is going to be in the stadium now instead of in the parking lot at the fucking Yingling Center.
I really hope that the spring game is still at Raymond James, but we just play all the games on campus.
Oh, that'd be such a nice homage.
Interesting.
Why not? Like, get the fucking. I mean, unless you really gotta like show off like boxes or something like that in the on-campus stadium. Yeah, do it at Ray J.
Yeah, fuck it, why not? No, I'm excited about it. I mean, honestly, I lived in South Tampa for forever, so it was easier to get to Ray J. But I like an OCS. It's nice to go back. Every time I go back in campus, there's a new fucking building, and it's like, oh my god.
Have you ever been to the Grove? At Ole Miss?
Ole Miss?
Yeah.
That's one of the few SEC schools I have not been to. I will get there eventually, but no, I have not.
Yeah, because we were talking earlier. One of the pictures on the graph, it looks like they're kind of going to set an area aside to build like a Grove type area.
Oh, that'd be super.
Right. I think that'd be really, really interesting and really help kind of the game day experience.
Dude, that on-campus Publix is going to be a fucking nightmare.
There's some knife fights in there.
Oh God, I didn't even think about that.
Just pre-gaming, just that public subline is going to be 20 miles long.
Holy shit! Oh my God,
Sierra Nevada.
Could you imagine if they do like a special that it's like, oh yeah, like USF scores like 35 points, get like a half a pub sub for like $3.50 or something like that.
No,
box it.
No, thank you. That would be cool to have like public stadium at, or actually Leroy Selman Field at public stadium, some crazy.
Right.
Shit. That'd be great. Except for the Publix heirs have turned out not to be the best people.
Yeah, I was about to say I love the idea of it, and I love it's a good joke and everything like that. But we're already in enough hot water as it is with some of the other things going on. But
Jeff Vinnick Stadium, I'll go with Jeff Vinnick Stadium.
There we go. Less problematic.
Yeah.
I think we'll probably need to wrap this up, but I will say, strangely enough, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think that they've seemed very worried about the financials of this, even though we're about to be entering into a recession. And
yeah, they haven't talked about that much. They're like, yeah, we're fine. Like we're moving ahead. Hell, maybe ahead of schedule. I was like, that's
that kind of
okay. All right, optimism. I like it. It scares the shit out of me, but I'm here.
Like I know they have back end ways that they're going to be making this happen. It's not just going to be donor funded, and it's not going to be fundraised or anything like that. Like I know the tips and tricks to build a football stadium.
Well, it certainly seems like they are really pushing this as more than a football stadium, which I think will help in kind of raising funds. Maybe some public funds and things like that, because it seems like they may try to put classrooms or something close by or in the stadium at a certain level, or other things to kind of make it more than just a stadium. Maybe help increase like public funding or like government.
I mean, they used to have classrooms in an old Doak Campbell Stadium. I remember that. That was a long time ago, but
they still have.
Go ahead.
They still have them actually.
Yeah, Michael Kelly stressed being able to use it every day and talked about teachers being able to use it every day or professors being able to use it. So I wonder if they're going to kind of have some of that in there as well. and really make it super multi-purpose in theory and kind of help raise funds that way.
USF football stadium, the multi-purpose church room of North Tampa.
Right.
What is the capacity of Yuengling Center?
God,
it
never gets there, but
I was gonna say it can't be more than 15, right?
I think it's 15.
I was gonna say, it's good, but it's not, amazing. So what I'm saying is, like, if you can't quite, and actually, and this is something I was talking about with somebody else. What's between that and then, like, what's the capacity for the 1-800 Ask Car Insurance Amphitheater? Like, what is if that could be the midpoint for like maybe somebody that's good and coming up, or maybe somebody that's on the way down, musical events, or maybe the world's smallest monster jam, shit like that. I feel like this stadium would be a revenue generator. It's going to be a place where you can hold things of a certain size that you're not going to fill up Raymond James, but you need something bigger than Yuengling. You need something bigger than, like, the Orpheum. That kind of thing. Like, this is going to make money. I really do feel like Vinnick's got his hand in it, and he's just not talking about it yet.
That's what I think too, because Yuengling is 1041, so 10,411. Amelie's 21.
Okay. Yeah, so you need that midpoint.
Yeah, and I don't. Mid Florida's capacity is weird, but
yeah. Well, we're not going to have. Dude, if this stadium has lawn seats, I'm fucking quitting.
Yeah, they're not going to pull a SMU.
So just for comparison's sake, everyone that went to the Navy game, Navy's got a 34,000 seat stadium, and they also have the berm, I think, as well.
Yeah.
So that might be something to look at in terms of capacity, but they'll also have the ability to grow. So I think there was much hubbub about the capacity number, but I think it'll be fine.
Well, it's going to meet the middle, because Mid Florida is 20,000. So really, unless you go to, like, the fairgrounds or something like that, like there's not really like a mid-tier arena to play for, like, someone that's not like a Kenny Chesney, but not a
Lizzo.
Yeah. Again, still can't believe Lizzo played at fucking Yuengling Center, by the way. Just full disclosure.
Yeah, that was that's when she was coming, and that's kind of what I was thinking when she's coming up. Like, they actually had to move it because she sold too many tickets. So I feel like this is going to be a nice mid-ground area. Like, they're going to be able to do stuff that's it's not going to sell out Amelie, but it's maybe a little too big or won't work at the 1-800 I drug a shark behind my boat amphitheater. So
yeah, no, like
if you don't know, the Ask Gary son was on one of those dumbass reality shows and drug a fucking shark behind his boat to death. So fuck that kid and fuck Ask Gary.
That does not surprise me at all.
No,
not even a little bit. We probably need to wrap up because we're good God, this happens every time. We're like, oh yeah, we'll make it nice and quick. 45 minutes.
We've hit shark hate crime time. So yeah,
and on the shark hate crime.
Yeah, that's how we
always go out on that.
Fuck you, San Jose hockey.
Jesus Christ. We should just end on that. Fuck San Jose hockey. That's gonna be our new rival.
Yeah,
San Jose Sharks.
I don't know if we got anything to plug, Steeg. I don't think.
The home field released a mug. That's cool.
I was gonna say home field apparel for all your Hawaiian mug needs, and also t-shirts.
All right, go get in Steeg to mention and tell him who wore it best, but only if you're going to say I wore it best.
Yeah, everyone fucking DM the shit out of me. That's what I want.
I think Seth wins just because of the Charlie Pell sticker. I got to.
Thank you.
That's fucking. Of all the college football coaches that killed themselves, Charlie Pell's my favorite.
He's up there.
Oh my god.
So far, actually,
is Joe Pa in there as well? Okay, yeah.
That's what I think is more of a figurative.
No, Joe Pa's shame killed him. The bastard.
That's a round.
Fuck you, Penn State fans, come at me.
It was a roundabout.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, this went off the rails. All right,
so we got the
you let me in. This is your fault.
Yeah, we've got a couple guys on commit watch this next week or so. Steeg.
Yep.
Is that what we're looking for?
Yeah, two commits within the next 4 days probably. And that's about it. That's going to not much summer news that's going to happen. Look forward to the indoor performance facility being completed. I would imagine that they're going to do like a media tour, so I'll probably end up doing that. I'll live stream it and show my feet the entire time. Bulls Block Party. That's what it is. That's the plug. That's the plug.
Missed your own plug. Jesus Christ, Robert.
Good God. All right. Yeah. Bulls Block Party. Yeah. I'll shoot you over the link real quick, Seth here. Yeah. Bulls Block Party is August 20th. It is. I can't even fucking lie about this. I've never been because I always have a wedding around that time, and for the first time ever, I do not have a wedding going on around that time.
Getting married then.
Right. Yeah, everyone stopped getting married in fucking August.
No, you. I'm telling you. You're in your like 5th marriage. It's fucking ridiculous.
He's the
terrible.
You're like Ric Flair.
Jeez. Y'all are 2 peas in a pod. But yes, so tickets are on sale for Bulls Block Party. If you use the promo code STEEG5, that is all capital letters, STEEG5, you will get $5 off. And I'll get some points into this competition that's going on. I don't know what I'm going to win, but
you're going to win tickets to the Bulls Block Party.
Yeah, that's my prize for winning it. But yeah, but not even just through me. Support who you want to support, because I think Zach Blobner and the Herd and Santi and a few other people are also partaking in this influencer competition. But
is the Wizard involved?
I don't think so.
I hear he likes buying drinks.
But anyways, it's so $5 off if you use the promo code. Whoever's promo code that you want to use, and I'll be there. It'll be a good time. I'll drink. I will get drunk, and I'll show my feet. I'll walk down Ebor barefoot.
I wouldn't suggest. I would not do that, buddy. You get the Ebor shoe licker is gonna lick your barefoot, and that's how you get worms.
Oh, I gotta remember that guy too. But yeah, Steeg 5, all caps, Steeg 5.
I'm a little even if you couldn't get Steeg 69, even though it's only $5 off either way.
I know, I wanted to, but yeah, even if you're not going to plan on going, do it anyways. It goes to the USF Tampa Alumni Association and helps fund some scholarships for student athletes as well. So if you don't feel like donating to USF directly, just do it in this really roundabout way of getting the money to the student athletes who work so hard to hear us bitch and complain for almost an hour and a half on a podcast.
Yeah, I will say that the USF Greater Tampa Alumni Chapter is fantastic. It is better than certain, actual regular alumni chapters, like the regular whole one. But anyway, they do a good job. They got their shit together. Please come out. It's fun. You may meet me. I won't tell you who I am. I will be walking around because I look like ET, so you may pick me out of a crowd, but that's neither here nor there.
He's the guy that looks like ET.
There you go.
I mean, honestly, I've been to the bar crawl a couple of times. There's a couple of people who look like ET.
Yeah, that's part of the course. Actually, that's just Tampa in itself.
Yeah.
All right. Promo code STEEG5, all caps.
STEEG number 5.
Number 5, all caps. All right. I think we're done. Anything else?
Go Bulls.
Go Bulls.
Go
Bolts.
Go Bulls. Go Bolts. Go Rays.
Steeg 5.